What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Rodriguez. The first fight is Steve Garcia versus Charlie. I can't say his last name. They're both primarily strikers. I just think Steve's the much better striker. I think he's just going to outpoint Charlie and knock him out. There's not too much to say about this fight. I just think it's, kind of a mismatch. Like I said, I think Steve's a lot better, so I think he's going to win by KO. Next is La Puta Godinez versus Silvina Gomez. To me, I really don't know too much about either of these chicks. I think they're both just okay. I'm leaning towards Gomez. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about this fight. I think it can honestly go either way, but I'm gonna lean towards Gomez. Next, we got Charles Rosa versus Damon Jackson, and neither of these guys is the greatest striker. Rosa's probably a little bit better. They're both primarily gonna grapple, and I'm leaning towards Jackson. I just think he's the stronger wrestler, and I think he can keep the higher pace. I think, Rosa has decent jiu-jitsu off his back, but he tends to lay there a lot if he's, underneath a strong wrestler. I think that's going to happen in this fight. I think that Jackson will get the takedowns and just edge out a decision. Next is Alexander Romanov versus Jared Vanderaa. To me, I think Romanov's clearly a top 15, top 10 guy already. They just keep giving him these dudes because they don't like wrestlers. It's just honest truth, especially at heavyweight for some reason. His wrestling's too good for these guys who are outside the top 15. It's just the honest truth. I mean, outside of Jared catching with a huge punch, Alexander wins this fight 9 times out of 10. He's going to take him down, beat him up, and just win, either a super dominant decision or get a TKO or submission in like the second or third round. So I'm leaning towards Alexander. Next, we got Chris Gutierrez versus Felipe Corrales. To me, Felipe, other than the fact that he's super tough, there's not too much to say about his game. He's got good jiu-jitsu and his striking's improving, but I don't think he's a great striker. I think that it's more like he's just good at weathering storms. And I think that's what's going to... Against Chris, Chris is too good with his kickboxing and I think overall cardio and defensive ground game. I think he's either going to dominantly pick apart Corrales or KO him. Corrales, in my opinion, gets kind of lucky. He tends to get outstruck in a lot of fights until his opponents either get tired or he's able to just force it to the ground. I don't think either's going to happen in this fight. Like I said, I think Chris either wins a dominant decision or gets a late TKO. Next, we got Sabina Mazo versus Mariana Agapova. To me, Mariana, she's got some skills, but I don't think she's a great fighter. I think Sabina Mazo's the same, but I think she's just a better fighter overall. They're both striker jiu-jitsu chicks, and like I said, I just think Mazo's a little bit better everywhere. And I think she's just more complete, even though they're both pretty similar. I'm going to lean towards Mazo. I think she wins a solid decision. Next, we got Tim Elliott versus Matthews Nicolau. I think overall this fight's really close. I think Tim's got the better wrestling and cardio, as where Nicolau's got just the better striking and jiu-jitsu. And because I'm leaning towards Nicolau, I just think that Tim tends to struggle when he just fights guys that can kind of catch him anywhere, on the feet or on the ground. And I think that that's what's going to happen in this fight. I think it'll be back and forth until Nicolau either lands a good shot or just gets a dominant position on the ground. I think that, Tim can scramble and just outpace people sometimes, but I just think Nicolau is eventually going to catch him like an arm triangle or a rear naked choke. He's really good at catching people with those submissions when he's on top. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Nicolau gets this to the ground eventually and just wins with a sub. Next, we got Randy Brown versus Jared Gooden. And to me, I don't think either of these guys are amazing. I think they're both technical kickboxers with some ground game. Randy Brown's longer and he's more diverse in his striking, but I think Jared's the better striker overall. And because of that, I'm leaning towards Jared. I think he also hits harder, but I think this fight could go either way. But I'm leaning towards Jared. I think he wins by knockout. Finally, we got Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez. There's only 9 fights on this card. It's super small. To me, I think that we've seen it's pretty much a striker versus a grappler. I think that Mackenzie's getting better at striking, but Marina is just significantly better. But vice versa, I think Mackenzie's way better on the ground. And one thing I've seen about Marina over and over again is that if you can't take her down, she tends to get dominated. And because of that, I think Dern, if she gets one takedown, is going to win. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think in the first round, Dern's going to take her down sooner or later and just win by submission. you know, the longer this goes, it does favor Rodriguez. Her conditioning is definitely much better, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think in the first round, Dern will hit a takedown, and when she does, I think she's going to win by sub. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.